Emirate Radio 98.5 FM invites businesses and organizations to celebrate this blessed Ramadan with us.
Showcase your brand to our vibrant audience through special Ramadan advertising packages and reach listeners across the community.
Reserve your spot today on Emirate Radio 98.5 FM and be part of our festive programming.
The time is 7 o'clock. This is Emirate Radio 98.5 FM. Here is the Emirates News at 7 with Oluwadolapo Bamigboye. First, the highlight. President Tinubu reaffirms commitment to personnel welfare. Rivers lawmakers silent on plenary resumption. Tinubu applauds Nigerian artist triumphs at 9th Afrima. Super Falcons draw Zambia, Malawi, Egypt in Group C. Now the news in details. President Bola Tinubu has paid tribute to fallen soldiers and 7 members of the Nigerian Armed Forces, praising their courage and commitment to the unity and security of the country, saying that their sacrifices will never be forgotten. The president delivered the keynote speech in his Armed Forces Remembrance and Celebration Day message on his official X handle today. He offered his heartfelt condolences to the families and dependents of fallen heroes, vowing that their sacrifices would never be forgotten. The president, however, reaffirmed his commitment to the welfare and dignity of the armed forces, noting that the government will continue to support them in action. In another beat, Vice President Kashim Shettima today presided over the 156th meeting of the National Economic Council (NEC) at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, marking the Council's second session since President Bola Tinubu directed the rehabilitation of grazing reserves into ranches. The hybrid meeting followed Tinubu's December 10, 2025 directive to NEC to work with the Ministry of Livestock Development to develop a roadmap for reforming Nigeria's livestock industry with a focus on reducing conflict and boosting economic viability. In response to the directive, NEC at its 155th meeting on December 18, 2025, inaugurated a committee on livestock development to fast-track nationwide ranching and livestock production reforms. The committee is chaired by Kebbi State Governor Nasir Idris and has been mandated to review recommendations from the Presidential Livestock Reform Committee and the Ministry of Livestock Development. In another development, the Nigerian government has dismissed claims that it has suspended the release of implementation guidelines on the tax laws. Chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, debunked the report in a post on his X handle today amid reports that the country's tax reform implementation guidelines were paused. Oyedele clarified that while concerns exist over different versions of the laws in circulation, no directive was issued to suspend implementation, stressing that the situation reflects a verification process. You are listening to the Emirates News at 7 from Emirates Radio, Ilorin. Welcome back. Governor Seyi Makinde has inaugurated the maiden edition of the rotational Oyo State Council of Obas, with the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, appointed to chair the council for a 2-year term. The inauguration was held today in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, with the Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Akim Owade, absent at the inauguration. The bill retains the rotational chairmanship system, with the position alternating every 2 years among the Alaafin of Oyo, the Olubadan of Ibadan land, and the Shoun of Ogbomosho. Recall that the Oyo State House of Assembly has passed the Oyo State Council of Obas and Chief Further Amendments Bill 2025, which aims to improve traditional leadership in the state. In another development, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa of Ondo State has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to the welfare and empowerment of widows of fallen military heroes. As part of the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration held at the government cenotaph in Akure, the governor announced that the state government had approved and released 50 million naira for interest-free microcredit loans to 120 widows and dependents of fallen heroes. The zero-interest loan scheme, which has become a fixture of the annual remembrance celebration in Ondo State, aims to support beneficiaries' businesses and enable them to provide for their families. Governor Aiyedatiwa stressed that the ceremony was not merely about remembrance, but also about honor and empowerment, particularly for widows of fallen heroes whose resilience continues to inspire society. Also, amidst the growing tension over the impeachment process on the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu, the Rivers State House of Assembly failed to resume plenary today after it adjourned sitting exactly 1 week ago. However, as at midday today, there were no signs that the House would sit, with no information having been given so far on why the lawmakers did not sit or when they will reconvene. Efforts to reach the House Chairman on Information, Petitions and Complaints, Dr. Eneme George, on when the lawmakers will reconvene were unsuccessful. Meanwhile, 4 lawmakers have so far backed out of the impeachment plot, soliciting a possible political solution to the ongoing crisis. Recall that in its last meeting held last Thursday, the House had commenced an impeachment proceeding against the state governor and his deputy over alleged gross misconduct before adjourning till 15th January 2026. On entertainment, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has congratulated Nigerian artists who emerged winners at the 9th All-Africa Music Awards, AFRIMA, describing their achievements as fresh proof of the growing strength, creativity, and global relevance of Nigeria's music industry. In a statement by Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, the president stated that the artist's success at the Lagos-hosted event underscored the talent, resilience, and international appeal of Nigerian youths while projecting the country positively across Africa and beyond. Nigeria recorded a strong showing at the awards held from January 7th to 11th, 2026, with Burna Boy emerging as Album of the Year winner, as the country claimed several top honors during the ceremony. President Tinubu also commended Lagos State for delivering a world-class event, praising Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration, while also reaffirming its government's commitment to youth empowerment and the development of the creative economy. And from the sports room, defending champions Super Falcons of Nigeria have been drawn in Group C of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations with Zambia, Egypt, and Malawi. The Group C games will be played at the Labri Zaoli Stadium in Casablanca. Nigeria thrashed Zambia 5-0 in the quarterfinals of the 2024 edition, which was also hosted by Morocco. The Super Falcons will face Malawi for the first time in the history of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, while Egypt, a regular participant in the competition, will compete in the group. A total of 16 countries will participate in the competition for the first time, with the tournament scheduled to run from March 17th to April 3rd. That will be all on Emirate News Hour. Here again are the highlights. President Tinubu reaffirms commitment to personnel welfare. Rivers lawmakers silent on plenary resumption. Tinubu applauds Nigerian artists' triumph at Night Afrima. Super Falcons draw Zambia, Malawi, Egypt in Group C. The Emirate News at 7 was read by Oluwadolapo Bamigboye. For updates and interactions, follow us on all our social media platforms at Emirate Radio 98.5. Good evening and thank you for listening.